Sounds
All
good.
right. Hello, everyone. This is Premier Chess CEO, National Master Evan Rabin, and I am here with Judit Sztaray, who is in San Francisco. She actually is the director of the Mechanics Institute, which I believe is, if not the oldest, one of the oldest chess clubs in the U.S. I was there in
For having me.
2011 to actually play the Golden State Open, as well as the Northern California International that Ted Castro and Arun Sharma were putting on. And yeah, I think in between those two tournaments, I obviously made a visit to the club, and it's beautiful. And yeah, Judith actually left Bay Area Chess a little over a year ago to go take over there. She's also a FIDE arbiter, and it's our pleasure to have her on the podcast today. How are you doing?
Good, excellent, and thank you so much for having me. And let me start with a little bit of corrections, which is actually a big correction in my eye. I'm not the director of the chess club. The director of the chess club is Abel Talamantes. He took over after Donaldson about 2 years ago, a little bit less than 2 years ago. Obviously, Donaldson legacy has been enormous, and everyone loves him, and he has been doing he has done a fantastic job with the club. And after Donaldson's retirement, Mechanics Institute hired Abel Talamantes, who I worked with him for over 4 years at the other organization. And yeah, and Abel took over. And then when opportunity came, he worked with the executive director, which is actually Grandmaster Patrick Wolf. The famous Grandmaster Patrick Wolf. And yeah, and they made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I'm currently the general manager for youth outreach and events. So I work under Abel's leadership, and I'm in I'm overseeing all the enrichment programs, all the online events. When we had over the board events, I oversaw that too. Obviously, that's a little bit hot. And yes, Mechanics Institute is the oldest chess club in the whole country. We are very proud of our rich history, and we are proud that we are part of a cultural institute who's serving a wide variety of communities in the Bay Area. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, my sincere pleasure, and yeah, thank you so much for the correction, as we want to
Yeah,
obviously.
no, absolutely no problem. I just don't want anyone to think that I'm the director, which is Abel, obviously.
No, absolutely. That's obviously very important. But yeah, I do want to just obviously commemorate all that they're doing. I know actually my good friend Sam Franklin, who I went to Brandeis with, certainly came out of the club basically. And,
Yes.
I mean, obviously a bunch of other tutors and everything as well, but he was an active member and still is. I saw he was doing a lot of classes and other events with them recently. So
Yeah.
so Judith, before we get into some logistics, the COVID transition, everything else as well, just tell us a little bit more about your background and how you got into chess, how you got into being a chess professional, etc.
Well, I think I have a pretty common, usual story of being a chess mom, and I couldn't help myself, just started volunteering for a chess organization, and that's how I got involved with chess. I was born and raised in Hungary, and as many of the European countries, like Hungary breeds chess. We basically learn chess at a very young age. We are around chess all the time. Obviously, the Polgar sisters are very famous, and Péter Léko and Richard Rapport are really good chess players from Hungary in our current times. But it wasn't until my daughter started playing chess that I got back to chess. And I'm originally a chemist by training, so I have a PhD in chemistry. I did research, clinical research, analytical research. until we moved to California. My husband is a chemistry professor at University of the Pacific. So we actually live in Stockton, California, which is in the Central Valley, about hour and a half, 2 hours from San Francisco. And
Do you normally commute 2 hours every day? Like when?
roughly 1.5, 2 hours, and not every day. I go in 2 times a week, and I work from home the rest of the week. And I have a flexible work schedule in terms of I go in when I'm needed. Tuesdays is one of the days when we have the famous Tuesday night marathon, which hosts probably have over 120, 130 players each night.
Wow.
So that's the longest standing marathon, which is one round per week and for an extended period of time, roughly 7, 8, 9 rounds, depending on. So Tuesday is usually one of the days, and then either one of the weekend days when we have tournaments, or if we don't have tournaments, then another day. So, but it's good. I love BART. You just sat on the train and you can avoid the toll and the parking and the traffic. So I'm pretty okay with it.
Well, got it. And now obviously there's a lot less commuting time.
Oh yeah. And we are actually not even allowed in the building. So the building is closed, and we work from home exclusively since March 15th, right?
Wow.
So,
Wow. Yeah, well, it's definitely a very different world that we're living in.
yeah.
I guess the one thing I guess I was curious about saying, asking you about, is your background coming from Hungary? I was actually just talking to my good friend and former podcast guest, and actually I know a friend of yours, Shelby Warman. I
Yes.
mentioned you were, coming on, and we were just talking. And we were actually talking about like the Polgar sisters, obviously from Hungary. And have you how did you get first into chess? Was it because of the big, chess culture, as a kid? I know you got exposed, to professionally through your kids and everything, but did you see chess in the culture at all in Hungary?
Yeah, I mean, in Hungary, you have chessboards all over the place, so it's not uncommon for families to have chessboards lying around. So that's how I learned. I learned how the pieces move when I was young, but we never had a official training or official course, chess enrichment program or things like that. No, that's usually in the past while I was growing up. It's always families teaching each other, family members. I strictly remember my brother playing my grandfather. Grandfather was a really good chess player. I don't think he had a rating, I think, but he was a physicist and he knew how to play chess good. So I know my brother always challenged him, or oftentimes challenged him. So I mean, it's the whole culture. You kind of grow up with it and have chess around you, and um, Kasparov, the Hungarian players, and you root for one or the other. So it's fun, and obviously everyone knows about Polgar sisters, and everyone knows their stories. So when I was growing up, obviously I learned about Polgar sisters, and I could just dream of meeting them once. And I can call myself very lucky and honored that I have a chance to work with Susan on a regular basis. So I cherish that relationship and collaboration very much.
Got it. Yeah, and I have to say, one thing that is kind of cool about what you said in Chess in Hungary, and I was actually just talking to our virtual campers this morning about when I was in India, and everyone has heard of this one Anand,
Exactly.
whether or not they're a chess player or not, and I was surprised. I remember I once was out to lunch with my friend John Francis many years ago in Boston. And I was actually shocked. Just it was the first. I mean, I hung out with him through mutual friends before that. It was the first time we, just hung out, the two of us, and went to lunch. And he was asking me about Viswanathan Anand and Carlson, and all these like top players. And I was like, wait a minute, like I'm so confused. Like I never knew you were like into chess. He's like, no, I'm not. This is just I know this, from like the papers and stuff. So I thought it was, definitely, just somewhat fascinating in that regard. That
Sort of
this is
similar
part of
in
the
Hungary
culture.
with Polgar's sister and Judit Polgar and Susan Polgar, especially Judit and Susan, obviously, but Sophia is as well. So,
Got it.
so.
So tell me, let's move on. And obviously, I want the bulk actually to be, about the Mechanics Institute, some of the work you're doing, with women in chess, on the Scholastic Council, et cetera. But what was it like with Bay Area Chess? I mean, I know it's a massive organization. They run, several hundred school programs, all around the Boston in the Bay Area. What was that experience like?
Well, it gave me an opportunity to connect and make friendship with a lot of players and families. Will be always grateful for that. The community, I learned and got used to the community and how I can serve them the best. I always cherished and always took priority on serving the customers, serving the players, and kind of finding out what's the best for them and how we can make things happen to serve the best for them, but still staying within regulations and tournaments my whole motto was customer service is the priority, because that's how you can thrive a business in my view. So I was really lucky to make several friendships, and I'll cherish that. So.
Yeah, and look, they're clearly doing, lots of great work. So tell me, last year you transitioned over to the Mechanics Institute. Why was that? What was the transition like?
Well, transitions is like any other
Sure.
transition in terms of changing workplaces, jobs. But I mean, I was looking forward to working for the chess organization in the U.S. That pride, that honor is just undescribable. So every time we have a problem or we have a little bit of tougher situation in terms of organizing or events, or I mean, you just have to think about I'm really lucky to work here because it is the oldest chess club in the US. It's not going to go anywhere else. It's not going to close. It's going to stay here, and it has a legacy, and we are part of carrying that legacy forward. So that's something that I don't think a lot of people can tell, and I'm proud and I'm very happy to be here. Regarding events and scholastic chess, I mean, we started offering a lot of variety of classes and events. There have been classes established, obviously, and but we sort of grew that, as well as the events. We started offering a few more events, tournaments over the weekend. We changed the format of the Tuesday night marathon a little bit, and that became very popular. And so we embraced that and kind of built on that. As well as we embarked on some new adventures, like Mechanics have never organized a national championship. And this February, we organized the US Amateur Team West, which was the last big event before the pandemic hit. We were so lucky. If it had been 2 weeks later, we would have been really in a bad shape in that tournament.
So let me ask you, I mean, actually my last tournament that I participated in was the United States Amateur Team South. Actually, I was in the West,
Yes.
2 weeks prior. And, by the way, I was actually on a team with Shelby Gorman.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. And,
you guys were in the East too, right? You played in the East over the
well, in the East, actually.
Yes.
In the South, I actually was not with Shelby. I was with Alan Cantor. Speaking of which, may his wife Susan, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Susan. It's
We lost
she
this
was
week.
amazing.
Um, yeah, I mean, she, truly was an amazing individual. And, I was actually at their wedding in 2014. Um,
Yeah, we're gonna miss her so much.
yeah, both,
Yeah,
friendship wise, also professionally,
yeah,
she was a huge asset, of course. So,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. But anyway, that the United States Amateur Team East, yeah, I was playing with Shelby and Jesse Lozano from Texas and Bob Holloman from Minnesota. So it was actually a whole big um,
Yeah.
diversity. But yeah, we actually named ourselves coronavirus,
Yeah.
which I mean, it was just crazy because when we did it, I had no idea like how much it would affect me or you or
Yeah.
any other person on the planet, basically. So it just goes to show you that you need to be preemptive and you need to be able to adapt in crazy
Yeah.
situations like this. So um, yeah,
Yeah,
so,
and
so
definitely Mechanics Institute has been really lucky because I feel that we acted on the situation really fast. We transitioned our classes, we transitioned our events, and we started offering online rated events. I really welcomed USCF's proactive approach in terms of establishing the online ratings, establishing the regular online ratings. So and then after that, we started the Tuesday night marathon is now online. So not as long as usually, but 3 or 4 weeks. So, and our players are really having fun. So we have, tomorrow night, we're going to have probably around 70 or 80 players playing online too. So it's a good club and a lot of good players. So
that's amazing. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, that was certainly the next thing that I was going to be, asking you about. Is the transition to COVID and
yeah,
how that's been going for you. A lot of people I know are aching to play over the board chess. This has been topic on many podcast episodes that we've had over the last few months. Um, what you kind of mentioned already, the tournaments, and I've definitely seen some of them as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, could you tell me a little bit more about the transition?
yeah. So as soon as the institute closed, and we actually March 10th would have been our Tuesday night marathon round, and we canceled that one. Um, I strictly remember because it was my daughter's birthday, and she usually helps out at the Tuesday night marathon. She's a senior TD, aspiring to be a national TD very soon. So she usually comes in with me on Tuesdays and helps out. And I had to tell her, sorry, there won't be any Tuesday night marathon. So that was the first tournament we canceled, and very soon we realized that no tournaments will be done in a lot for a few weeks, at least a few months. And so we started the regular online tournaments. You have to make a choice between the platforms. There are many good platforms out there, at least 3 that we that we can name. Obviously chess.com, Lichess, and ICC. These are all really good platforms. We choose chess.com just because of our previous collaboration. We held club team matches before online. So we chose that one and we started offering tournaments. First couple of months, it was free tournaments, only free tournaments, so that our players got used to online tournaments, how to join, what to expect. And then end of March, we decided to hold our Rapid and Bliss Championship. And that was our first fee-based tournament. So we had a really good turnout and we were really, really happy with the first event. And so the first Mechanics Bliss and Rapid Championship was really a good success. And that paved our way to the regular weekly or every other week we have an online USCF rated tournament over the weekend. Then we started the Tuesday night marathons. So these are all USCF rated. We charge entry fee and we pay out prize fund. But all these are very small. So we keep our entry fees low so that hopefully it's affordable for everyone. And our prize funds are low too, because obviously low entry fee results in low
So when you
prize
say
fund, as
there's
well
been,
as it deters cheating a little bit. I mean,
so when
not
you say there's been any potential issues so far with regard to cheating, obviously that's a big concern for a lot of
absolutely.
organizations now.
And thank you so much for bringing this up. And I don't think it needs to be a taboo. I think we should talk about it and just continue our process. Cheating, I mean, cheating has been present, right? Present for a long time. Like people are cheating over the board as well as online. Online, it's a little bit easier probably, or so some would say. But the key factors are expecting cheating and making sure you do everything to deter it. And once you do that, you can feel comfortable that you should do these events, because you shouldn't stop events because of a few bad players. You should focus on the hundreds of players who benefit from this, who otherwise would not be able to play in tournaments, who would otherwise not be able to connect with their friends and community. And you need those competition. You need to feed their competition fever in terms of. So there are things you can do. One of the things obviously you can do is prevent cheating. How you prevent cheating is education. You educate your kids, you use your parents to educate their kids, you educate your players, and you clearly lay out the consequences. Once you lay out the consequences, you cannot say that, okay, they didn't know what's at stake, right? If you lay out that the consequence is we're gonna ban you, we're not gonna let you in play, not even the over the board tournament. You might face ethics complaint, you might be
Right.
banned from US chess. All these are possibilities, and believe me, something will happen. So yes, we had a few cheating issues, cheating cases. It wasn't surprise to any of us all, but we solve them, we move on. And I think the more you do these preventative measures, the less cheaters you will have. Also, the community is so tight. I think Abel has a view, and I fully support it, not to necessarily grow the club, online club, to enormous, because there is a potential to grow big, right? Because it's online. There are no boundaries, no physical boundaries, geographical boundaries, but that always brings the possibility of more
No,
cheaters.
and that makes sense. And, I know for a fact, for instance, my good friend and actually former podcast guest, Grandmaster Alex Lenderman, played in a
Yeah.
couple of your tournaments.
Yes.
And I do think that, and we've seen that with their virtual camp. We actually have a couple of kids from the Bay Area in our camp, for instance.
Okay.
We've actually had, one kid come to our camp from Norway, which I think is wonderful. We, absolutely met them through Twitch. We had another kid from Dallas who's been with us every single week, since the beginning. So, yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's, important to take advantage of that aspect, but at the same time, obviously not, go overkill, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
And just the advantage of they know each other. So are you going to risk cheating against your friend who you have seen so many times at the chess club? No, because if if you find out, your whole reputation is ruined, and you're not going to be able to show your face again. So there are certain issues. Obviously, kids are a little bit different. I feel kids, their developing brain, you have to give the advantage of for them to learn from their mistakes and give them a second chance. So it's a little bit different.
yeah, no, absolutely. So, and it's true in general, I think it probably does make sense to not let, one bad apple ruin everything.
Yeah.
right? So yes, there are definitely, unfortunately, obviously some cheaters out there,
Yeah.
in person or not in person. And I do think that, look, on the whole, U.S. chess has actually done, tremendous work actually. And, and actually Dwayne Barber was also a podcast guest,
Yeah.
and he and, people like, yourself and Danny Rode, I've been doing tremendous work actually getting these, high level tournaments, up
Yeah,
and
and
running.
it's actually a lot of fun, and I was really honored to be on the staff both for the high school rapid championship. I mean, when Dwayne asked us to organize that, that was really fun, and I felt Danny and I took lead on that, and we had a really good uh, work relationship. He took care of all the promotion and coordinating with the Twitch and the broadcast and everything, and I took care of all the player organization issues, and it worked really well, and we had a really fun Zoom team as well. John Rockefeller, Michelle Martinez's son, and a few others. So it was really, really nice. And obviously the invitationals were a huge success. I know there's a little bit of buzz about a few
Mhm.
cheating issues, but don't let that fool you. Like three cheating versus 214 players, having a really memorable event. Well, if you subtract the three cheaters, 211 players having the really memorable event that could replace somewhat their annual event of participating in these exclusive invitational events. I think that was really brave and a lot of courage from US Chess to put these together, and I'm very happy to be on the staff, or was honored. So
That's amazing. Well, yeah,
yeah,
really, thank you so much for, the work that you're doing there.
yeah.
Um, do you see that as like I mean, obviously when things are normal again, there'll be, in-person nationals and whatnot. Actually, our one of our assistant instructors actually asked the kids,
Hmm.
this afternoon, are you going to go to the nationals next year? And I honestly just kind of laughed because I was like, who knows what's going to happen,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Even a year from now. It's, I mean, it's so up in the air that, you know, I, I'm thinking about the fall. I'm not even, remotely considering about
Yeah,
what,
and I'm guessing
going to
you
happen
have
then.
the same experience with us. Like schools are not, can't even figure out what to do in the next month or so, or they are starting to. So, it's a tough times. I think I read a Facebook post from Christina Schweitz, who's the leader of the Hampton Roads in and she said that, and I think a lot of us should take her advice, that she said that let's make a plan. Let's make whatever plan you see fit right now, let's make it. Because for families, it's actually really a plus having an organization, having a person who have a firm plan, because everywhere everything else is so flexible, so up in the air, and it takes toll on the parents, takes toll on everyone. So if you come out with a firm plan, you can only win, and anything over the board, it's a plus. But obviously we don't know when it's going to happen, and it's hard.
Sure. So to do that, are there? I know you've been, recently the, online invitationals have been the biggest focus, but I know you've been, on the council for a while. Um, what other, work what other big initiatives have you been doing on the council? And where what are your biggest goals, with regard to US chess and scholastic chess?
Well, so the um, in the past few months, June and July, I was part of a group called Online Play Task Force. It was a group of 7 people, and we have worked on the chapter 10, new chapter 10 for US chess rules. It's basically updating the chapter 10, current chapter 10, which is in the US chess rules book, rules of chess book. It was an amazing experience working with these people and basically recreating the online chess rules. And that is in front of the delegates right now. We have town hall meetings. We had one, and we're gonna have another one tomorrow evening. And after that, it's up to the delegates to vote on it and approve it. And if they approve it, it's hopefully going into effect soon. So that was a really great experience working with these people and really be a key member of developing these rules. Regarding the Scholastic Council, the council has a lot of functions. Obviously, year to year, we review the scholastic regulations, and these regulations really oversee the national scholastic championships and guide them. So that's always one of the issues. The other few other projects that's been going on is the coach certification. US Chess has a certification, coach certification process, which will be reworked. Elliot Neff and Women International Master Beatriz Maranello are leading that project. And obviously we welcome anyone who's a coach and who's on the council and outside to be to help them in this process. So that's very exciting. We're also going to work on, every year, we will be looking at the sections for the national championships. Obviously this spring, all the nationals were canceled, so we're gonna have a lack of data sets, so to speak, but we are always taking a look at it, sections, and see if anything needs improvement, if anything needs changing. So that's an ongoing project. And I think the new project will be online chess and how we can support scholastic players with online chess, and whether that's training for coaches, professional development, or providing tools and resources for parents. These will be some of the projects for the fall, I think.
Yeah, and by the way, I actually had the privilege of having Elliot Neff on the podcast as well.
Yes.
About I think maybe 2-3 months ago now. I actually had a chance to meet him at one of his Chess for Life centers when I was in Seattle last year.
Nice.
It was
an amazing program up there.
obviously a tremendous operation out there. With, I think 7 centers now. Yeah, no, definitely in great hands there for sure. One thing, I also wanted to, get into you, to talk to you about as well, is women in chess. Judit, is, I would say somewhat unfortunately, actually one of the few, women chess leaders. There are others, Beatrice, you mentioned, Adio Nyong'o is, a great friend of mine. I've been actually begging her to come on the podcast at some point. So I'm saying it publicly here. I want Adia on the podcast. Tell me. We also, of course, had Jen Shahadi on the podcast. Recently, gave a lot of great input. But what are your thoughts about women in chess? How can we get more women involved?
This is a question I got asked quite frequently nowadays.
Of course.
But it's good, and I think the more we talk, the better it will be. So I always like to state that I think where chess has been in this sense 10, 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and where we are now, we've seen a tremendous growth. So that the membership went up from a few percent all the way down, I think, up to, I think now it's 17%. A lot of people have worked.
You say 17% of membership is women?
17 or something like that. So give or take. let's round it up to 20. Okay.
All right, let's go. 25.
Yeah, no, 25 is too much, but like my data is mine. Let's round it up to 20. But a lot of people have worked really hard on that. One of the people who I don't think he gets enough credit for it is Frank Nero. So a lot of people worked really hard, but there are so much more we can do. And why there are so few girls in the chess clubs, in the chess classes, and then even more, how can we retain them? Because it's much easier to lose that one or two girls that we have. And I think that it all comes down to community and friendship and having other girls in the classes. If you have a bunch of girls, they're gonna stick together because they're having fun and they have friends there. And no matter what they do, if their friends are there, it's good. I think obviously boys, it's easier because there are other boys and they are less dependent on this friendship aspect, this social aspect of life, and chess is no different. So I think if we can make sure that there are buddy systems, or never have one girl in the classroom, right? Always, if you have one girl signed up, offer a free ride for their friends, or split the entry fee, because registration fee, because having two girls, it's almost having one girl is really, really tough. Having two girls, it's much easier. You need to have a really special girl for that girl to be coming back alone with all the boys. The other one is obviously education, right? You have to gently guide the boys, not to bully the girl, right? Not to be afraid of girl beating them up in chess. Um, Congratulate them for her for beating them, and then learn some more, and then next time you're gonna win. So there are other social aspects that we have to teach. And the third one that's, I think it's very important, is idols, is mentors. So having Jennifer Shahadi, having Tatev Abramian, having Sabina Foyser. I think these three, I think these are the three leader, or Alexander Botes, obviously, with her Twitch channel. Sure. Having female role models for girls that they can look up and see, well, they are successful in chess, so I can be too. Susan Polgar is the leader in this, obviously, first grandmaster in chess, female grandmaster in chess. And that's why I'm so passionate of carrying Susan's tournaments forward and organizing them, because you should see the room when she enters, and the players just amazed, and she has so much energy and passion for chess, and she never runs out of patience with kids, and there for them, and there the whole day. And I think if people see this dedication and passion from a female player, I think more girls will stay in chess.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is just, keeping them motivated.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to, as you said, give them role models. This is something that Jed and I, we're talking about, on the podcast episode that she was on. But also, I think it's giving them, as you said, more social benefits. So I know, my friend Jason Bowie, who actually came with us last year to Tanzania. We go every year together with Teresa Grant to Make a Difference Now. And, I know he got a grant, and now he's setting up, as part of the Philadelphia Chess Society, these girls' rooms at tournaments, to give them, something to do, be able to go, kind of meet and, network with other girls. It's truly, extremely, beneficial, for them to have their own social community.
Yeah.
So, well, Judith, I want to thank you so much. I mean, this has been I think really insightful, just, learning about, your original chess background in Hungary, getting into, your work with Bay Area Chess, before you, went over to the Mechanics Institute. I'm sure this was definitely not the, first full year that you were expecting, obviously, with the COVID transition. But you were actually, truly one of the pioneers of online tournaments, during this time. And you've been doing, certainly a lot of great work with US Chess, helping organize the task force, also, working on the coach certification. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's great.
Was organized by US Chess. Ryan Velas and Mike Hoffpower were the two board liaisons, and they have to get all the credit for the organizing of that. And it was a wonderful team of David Hayter, Christina Schweitz, Steve Emmett, Brian Yang, and myself. I hope I'm not leaving out anyone. So it was a fun group. And yeah, the coach certification, I hope Elliot and Beatrice will do wonderful jobs in that. So that's
absolutely. And by the way, I've known Steve since, I was 10 playing in his tournaments in New York. So Steve is personally, I think, the best tournament director in the country. I know that's a big statement. There's a lot of great directors, including yourself, myself, but look, maybe I'm biased, but I've known Steve that long, and he's incredible. So truly. So yeah, Judith, is there anything else about, the Mechanics Institute, Scholastic Chess, anything else that you'd like to cover?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'm really proud of is the amazing fundraising work that the Institute is doing in terms of providing chess education for the San Francisco schools that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford. So we are really lucky that we have these grants, funds that support chess in schools. So we have around 20 schools that provide free chess education to students in the school. And I'm really hoping we can set something up for the fall. I'm working on with the principals to continue that even virtually, because it was shut down really abruptly in March, obviously. But I'm just really honored and proud of the work that the Institute is doing, and all these grants to support chess in our community. So anyone who's interested in visiting us, we are not only a chess club. This Institute is an amazing historical building, housing a really amazing library. So just walking in the library, it gives us such a joy, and such a beautiful building. And come on up to the fourth floor when things are back to normal.
When things are normal, and honestly, I won't even ask you when that's going to be, because who knows? I
get a question every day, but yeah, who knows? Because
people and people always ask us, oh, are you going to be in schools in the fall? And I don't even know who it is, but someone the other day on the chess teacher forum that I'm sure you're part of on Facebook asked, oh, like, what are your programs going to look like? I mean, no one knows.
No one
really
knows.
No one knows whatsoever. I'm not even going to.
We are always like ready to start, right? We have most of the programs almost ready to go, and we still keep working on new schools and everything. Now you just have to be patient with the schools because they are so overwhelmed. So yeah, parents are also. So it's
And I will say, Judith, that truly, and normally during this time of year, I'm going crazy reaching out to schools, trying to, set up new programs for the new school year.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm basically doing none of that. Right now I'm just, trying to make ends meet. We got a virtual camp, talking to the schools that we currently work with, but, that's about it for now, actually. So, okay, well, Judith, thank you so much for your time. Definitely appreciate it. If anyone wants to, learn more about, the work that Mechanics Institute is doing, what would be the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, we have a really super easy website address. It's chessclub.org. So
Wow.
chessclub.org, and just type it in, not .com, because that takes you to another website, but chessclub.org, and you will see all our events, our offerings, scholastic offerings, and yeah, and I'm sure you can find one of the, I mean, if you chess room at milibrary.org will also come to both me and Abel, and we'll be able to answer any question you might have.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Judith.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.